Hello everybody, Lawrence Fleming here. I needed to get out of my tent. Still a little cool and the wind's blowing, but I don't come out here to sit in my tent. Continue to pray for those that are in Florida and having trouble down there. A lot of damage. I think there's 21 deaths so far. People could have gotten out of there and didn't take the warning. Well, that's kind of what we're experiencing in the world. God has warned everybody. Straighten up, accept Christ. Stop falling for the lies that are out there. Most people aren't listening. If you're watching my channel, you're listening. There's good news for you. But for everybody else, it's not good news. We're seeing these birth pains increase. What happens when birth pains increase? We're getting closer to the birth. Revelation 12 birth. That's our exit. But it also means the world is running out of time. And you notice that the one hurricane went through, got a little bit of a breather, and then the next hurricane was on the horizon. Watching for it. What's next? We're still getting more earthquakes around the world. I'm warning California. There's one due there. Typically you get a number of them and one of them is big. And then there's aftershock, so it's not a pleasant scenario. So keep telling people about Jesus, telling people that the world is going to be judged. The seals are first, overlapping with the trumpets. The first seal is the Antichrist. So that is why we've got to get out of here before the first seal. We would recognize the Antichrist. The spirit in us would. And we're restraining him. We're still looking in our calendars and maybe we have a rapture coming up in the next week or two. Doesn't matter whether it's a week or a month. The time is short. And I'm sure that there were Christians harmed in the hurricanes that we've had of late. So there's no perfect scenario. As long as we're here, we're to keep putting the message out, because the birth pains are going to increase. It isn't until the birth that we have a chance to be free of all this. Beautiful scenery here. You can kind of see some of it around me. Got woken up in the middle of the night. Something digging around my tent. Probably an armadillo. As I hit the side of the tent and it didn't run off. And you can hear them. armadillos kind of have a light grunt, sort of like a pig, as they're digging through the leaves and the other brush looking for things to eat. They don't eat nuts. They eat live things. The squirrels eat the nuts. I see bits and pieces of shell that have been broken apart all over the ground where they're eating them. They're either eating them or storing them up. And there's plenty of them here. All right. The birth pains are going to increase. They're not bad yet. If you know anything about them, hours apart is just be alerted. You get down to a minute or two, that's when things are going to happen. I think we're still at an hour, but it could switch at any time to being minutes. I think we're close. But our calculations are based on quite a number of assumptions. We don't have any prophets running around. Stop this for a second. Okay. You didn't need to hang on while I tied my shoe. So, we've seen where Russia has gone ahead and annexed the countries. And they basically came out and said if anybody tries to help them to break away again, that they will pay severely. Putin's been talking a lot about retaliation and paying a dear price for getting involved. He can't continue. He's going to have to follow up. Otherwise his talk will be wasted. So I would assume somebody's going to do something stupid and he's going to have to respond. Nobody really knows who did the pipeline sabotage. It could have been us, it could have been somebody that we were helping out, it could have been the Ukrainians. With winter coming along, he's already shut down one of the pipelines and hadn't restarted it. He said he was going to, but he hadn't. The other one was running diminished, so it's like, could have been anybody. Could have even been the Russians, although I don't know why they would do it. Cut their nose off to spite their face, but they could blame it on somebody else and use it as an excuse. Who knows? But all that's going on over there. The wars and rumors of wars don't seem to come to us here. That might change. If you back Russia into the corner, they will use a nuke. And I guarantee you, if you've watched, I've said this before, Red October, there are subs off our coast. We have maybe 20 minutes. Now, we've got a missile defense system too, but I don't know if it's as good as the Iron Dome. Because the Israelis developed that on their own. I don't know if I'm going to make a full loop on this or not. Over 3 miles. I mean, physically I can do it. But then once I've done it, what else can I do? There's a bunch of smaller ones. There's a really long one. I'm not here long enough for that. 27 miles. I've recently done, I think, 18. So I could probably do it. But there's no way to, that's the problem with some of these trails. You hike out, you've got to have a ride back. Because if you hike till you're exhausted and then you've got to turn around and go back, that's not good. It's not cold enough yet for hypothermia, although it is cool. It's in the 60s right now. I had a good breakfast, so. And I've got water in my pack. I carry my pack just to make the walk a little bit more interesting. I still got my hiking poles. I have to hold them both in one hand while I hold the camera in the other. Okay. Well, the Carolinas are getting hit now with Ian. It's Category 1. It should be downgraded here shortly as it's coming ashore. We may get some rain in Atlanta from it, but I'm too far away. But definitely going north would have been a bad idea. And I expect they're going to start talking about other storms coming in. We're still in hurricane season. But I'm also expecting an earthquake on the west coast. So pray for the world. They've got to get this message. Now it's evident that we're not going to be able to get to the whole world, because that's why God sends the angels down to get the message out to the rest of the world. The temple is not ready to be built exactly, so we got a little bit of time there. But there's going to have to be some situations where the Antichrist can come in and set things up. And I don't see us being there yet. We've got to get a war going. I'm not saying I want one, but I think in the timeline of things, we need to get to the point where we can have the Magog War. Israel pretty much set themselves up for it by saying to Europe, well, in the absence of Russian energy, next year we'll take over and supply you all the energy you need. Iran's proxies will do their best to disrupt that, so something's got to happen to them. And Russia would love to have the energy that Israel has right now. Okay. I've got a long ways. You don't need to watch all of this with me. Keep praying. People need help. Find ways to help. I saw where Samaritan's Purse, Graham, started with Billy Graham, and Franklin Graham's running it now. Organization is going down with trucks full of everything that people need. There is a fundraising account set up by the governor's wife. I don't know the website, but you could look it up. It's going to have a .org. Be careful of .coms. That you can contribute to. I mean, they have search teams and everything, but if you're not qualified for that, I wouldn't necessarily volunteer for it. Because you will see things you don't want to see. And this kind of thing, professionals are best to do the preliminary. Follow up, yeah, that'd be okay. They could use help. But taking materials down there, unless you've got a plan, if you're working with a group, that would be okay, but I wouldn't try to do that on your own. Got a little creek here, but there's barely any water in it. Down there. A few birds. This is a quiet walk. Last time I did this walk, I did run into a couple of hikers, but that was it. Most of our campers up on the top, watch while I'm walking, most of the campers up on the top are city folk in their RVs. They go out in a boat, paddle around the lake. That's the length of their exercise. What I'm hoping to find is I missed a trail last time, so I'm hoping to find that, and that will give me a little bit different path. All right. I'm working on a Bible study. It's not ready yet, so hopefully I'll get that done when I get back. And I'm thinking that with the time the way it is, I'm going to do something fun. Or, did you miss the rapture? Well, thank you for playing You Bet Your Life. It's a consolation package. I'll probably do this as a separate video. It's a consolation package. Here's your very own bag of fiery hornets. We got permission to open the pit, just enough to get these out. Imagine taking these to your next party. And the second prize we're going to give you is your home version of this game. And of course it will be the Bible. Study up and be ready. You've got a couple more chances, because we do have 3 raptures. The first one is easy. The next two, I wouldn't want my enemy to go through them. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'll see you at the study. They took my bridge down to get across, so had to find another way. That's all right. I made it across. They're going to put a new one in for the people coming, but experienced hikers only. Well, this trail is leading me to the dam side of the lake. I've got a nice set of steps to come up. A little play area down there for the kids. So anyhow, we're gonna go up here and see if we can see the lake. There we go. Okay, let's get on with our Bible study. Today I'm just going to kind of introduce you to Isaiah and see a little bit about what's going on. God's love for his people in Israel has been there from the beginning, and it's still there. They will get special attention here coming up. God's going to send the 144,000 to preach to them, to bring them over. One last attempt. And when that happens, many will turn to Christ. The problem Israel has now is most of the people there are there because they're Jews, not because they believe in the law, the Old Testament, the Torah, any of that. They're just there because they're persecuted around the world, and so they've come back where there's, quote, safety. Well, God doesn't plan on leaving them safe for the remainder of the time. He's not going to destroy the country or send them off in exile like is going to happen shortly after we read what we're going to read. He's pretty much going to just simply warn them. Ah, the sun's coming out. It's been hidden in the clouds. Let's see if I can read this. I can barely see the screen of the camera, so let's see if I can read this. I'm going to start by just reading the commentary at the book of Isaiah. Isaiah is a book about God's wise judgment, his life-giving salvation, and the coming long-promised Messiah. We're not going to get to that because we already know what happened, but he's about ready to tell the people. But first, he's going to have to give them some warnings. Old Testament books from Isaiah through Malachi are known as the prophets. Isaiah is called a major prophet, as are Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, because of the length of their writing. Shorter prophets or prophetic books are called the minor prophets, again because of the length, not because they are less important. Always remember that. It's helpful to remember that a prophet is someone who speaks for God. It is also helpful to remember that prophecy in the Bible speaks to the present as well as the future. Apply these thoughts to like the book of Revelation. In Old Testament times, God raised up prophets during times of sin and rebellion in order to confront the people and warn of the judgment that is coming if they did not turn from their disobedience. God spoke through the prophets to show how to live for him. Find that in Hebrew 1:1. Okay, Isaiah the son of Amoz lived 7 centuries before Jesus was born. So he's writing this before the exile to Babylon. So obviously, if they're going to be exiled to Babylon, they're not behaving, right? His name, Isaiah, means Yahweh is salvation, or the Lord is saved, and reflects the theme of the book, with the word salvation appearing 26 times in the book compared to only 7 times in all the other prophets. In the first portion of the book, Isaiah sounded warnings to the people as they headed forward in disobedience that would end in disaster. Okay, so let's start with Isaiah 1:1. The vision of Isaiah the son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Judah. Remember, they split. Israel on the north, Judah on the south. Israel was conquered by Assyria, and Judah is going to be conquered eventually by Babylon. That happens because they won't turn to God properly. Okay. The clouds are back, I can see. Judah, okay. Saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, the kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows its owner, the donkey its master's crib, but Israel does not know. My people do not consider. They're going about their daily work. Alas, a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a brood of evildoers, children who are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord, and they have provoked to anger the Holy One of Israel. They have turned away backwards. Why should you be stricken again? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faints, from the sole of the foot even to the head. There is no soundness in it. I'm going to jump down to 10. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear to the law of God, you people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices to me, saith the Lord? I have enough burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed cattle. I do not delight in the blood of bulls, or in the lambs or goats. When you come and appear before me, you are required this from your hand, to trample my courts. Bring no more futile sacrifices. Incense is an abomination to me. The new moons and the Sabbaths and the calling of assemblies. I cannot endure the iniquity and the sacred meeting. Your new moons and appointed feasts my soul hates. They are a trouble to me. I am weary of bearing them. When you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Even though you make prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Seek justice. Rebuke the oppressor. Defend the fatherless, and plead for the widow. God is scolding them. He is scolding them now too, because they have all these books. They have the Old Testament. It's their books, and they didn't see Jesus. Things are going to get tough there in a little bit. They're prospering now. They're prospering because they believe that that is their right to do that. But they're not worshiping God. I complain all the time that they're messing with their calendar. They're doing it for convenience or because they don't want to have anything to do with Jesus, so they change it a little bit. They're not doing it for God. They're doing it for themselves to make things easy. There are some there that are worshiping. You see them there at the Wailing Wall, the support wall for the temple, not the temple. But they are not the majority. The majority of Jews are I don't want to say atheists, but I think they do believe in God, but they don't believe in doing anything to practice their religion. They're there to live and make money. Earthly chores, not heavenly. Well, I'm telling you this because we're going to see them pay the price. They want to go back to the sacrifices. Well, good. They're not going to do any good. You can see how God feels about them. But it will help unite them. And then they're going to turn over their country to the Antichrist, because he's going to look like the Messiah that they're looking for. They don't believe Jesus. And then when he defiles the temple, that's when they're going to realize. But it'd be too late. The 144,000 will have to work on him. They have a job to do. And I pretty well assure you that some of them won't survive. God's people tend to kill messengers if they don't like the message, especially when it points out the things that they're doing wrong. All right, well, things are about ready to break. They're just lining up. I don't know what's holding things back. Well, I know what's holding things back. God and his angels and holding the four winds back. But at some point in time, he's going to pull that out of the way and let Satan have his rule. We keep looking at the things happening and we keep saying, it's got to be now. When else could it be? So we keep looking for our Revelation 12 rapture. We're not going to miss it. Not those of us that are doing our job, that are watching and telling people about it. We're not going to miss the rapture, even if we don't have the right date. So that can be a bit of an insurance. There are 3 raptures, and we have people in all 3 camps thinking that theirs is the only rapture. So there are 3. Walk around the elephant and you see that there's more sides to the beast than what you're looking at. If you still think you're at the end and that yours is the last rapture or the rapture at the very end, good. When you find that you're gone on the first one, well, that'll be a surprise. Same goes for the middle. We have a rapture coming up. I can't see why there wouldn't be this year. I can't give you a date, and I won't give you a date. But I'm telling you, other people have tried to give us dates here coming up. I just say they're high watch. The rest of this month is a high watch. And if we don't see one, just know that these chess pieces are still being moved on the board. We're not close enough to calling a check yet. And I don't want to go to the end where we get a checkmate. So just keep watching. Do what you can daily to improve yourself. Improve yourself for God. You know, we got to keep fit. We got to eat right. And we got to treat people right. We got to watch our money. We got to spend frugally. We may need to stock up on a few things. I've been telling you that. But we don't need to stock up. You know, you can go buy your full 7-year kit of survival food. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. People will do anything for money. Continue. Be in this word daily. You don't have to read through it. It's 72 hours worth of reading, so you don't have to read through it daily. But you should be reading something out of it. You should be studying something. And not just listening to me and other watchers or preachers on the internet. You need to actually read it. I know what that can be like. I don't like to read. To me, reading is a chore because I don't visualize. But I still read it. I figure if it's going into my head, it's going somewhere. I may not be able to find it, but it's going somewhere. God can bring it out if He needs me to remember. And the advantage I have of having this channel is I'm forced to stay in the Word so that I can have something for everybody here. Teaching is the best way to remember or to learn something. If you're teaching, you have to be ahead of what the student is. You have to know more, so you have to stay in it. So I'm grateful to God that He's brought me in this direction. I can still learn out of this book. I've been a Christian for over 40 years, and I can still learn from this book. And I've read through it a few times. Now there's some out there that have read through it 100 times. I wouldn't absorb that. It would just go, I'd be like Charlie Brown's parents. Wah, 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 wah. I wouldn't absorb it at all if I tried reading it. But I study topical stuff so that way I can categorize it and store it in my brain. God is coming back for us. We don't have to be perfect. In fact, we know we can't. But be as good as you can possibly be. Don't compare yourself to others. Be as good as you can be. And be better today than what you were yesterday. That's a simple goal. If you read, one paragraph, by next week you should be reading 4 paragraphs. And then read a chapter at a time. Whatever it is, whatever you can do and handle, that you can always do. Everybody can have one of these. Okay, till we meet in the clouds, God bless.